A bittersweet reminder of a Fairchild Airman killed in a crash last week. Well, experts from Boeing have offered to join the investigation into why a Fairchild air tanker crashed in Kyrgyzstan on Friday. The aircraft manufacturer made the KC-135 back in 1963 and has the contract to make the next generation of aerial refuelers. On Sunday, the Department of Defense released the names of the aircrew killed in the crash. Captains Mark Voss and Victoria Pickney were piloting the plane, and Tech Sergeant Herman Mackey III was the boom operator. Now we're learning more about Captain Voss and his connections to Spokane. KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey joins us live from Phelps Field with the latest information on the crash and a plane that Captain Voss was building there. Jeff?
And Nadine, this should give you an idea about the caliber of people who are flying for the Air Force. Even though he was just 27, Tyler Voss had already managed to learn how to fly a 4-engine jet, and he was building his own high-performance airplane here in this hangar. The tanker that crashed in Kyrgyzstan was relatively young by KC-135 standards. It was one of the last refuelers to roll off the Boeing assembly line in 1963, and since that time has been stripped down and fully renovated with modern jet engines and avionics. The plane in question had just arrived at the Manas Transit Center and had only been on the ground for 1 day before its fateful flight. Now investigators from the Air Force's Air Mobility Command are trying to find out what happened.
Anytime there's an aviation accident, the Air Force takes great pains to make sure we get the information out so we can continue to be safe as we fuel freedom.
When Captain Voss wasn't refueling the fighters that support American troops on the ground in Afghanistan, he was building this KITT RV-8 airplane. Today, someone at the Experimental Aircraft Association had already draped an American flag over one of the wings.
And just appreciate your airmen, I guess. They do quite a wonderful job over there, and we haven't lost a crew member in one of those airplanes, I think, since 1999, so that speaks pretty highly. The crews are highly trained.
However, Fairchild officials are not saying if Voss and his co-pilot Tori Pickney had time to radio that something was wrong before their plane came apart 5 miles above Kyrgyzstan. The base will say tankers will keep flying out of Manas until the troop drawdown there is over.
Overseas, they are known as Liberandos, and their mission is to deliver. And these brave airmen were heading south on a mission to fuel freedom for our great nation.
And Nadine, you see again the flag and the flowers there on Captain Voss's RV-8. Today we also learned that 4 gentlemen who own Stearman airplanes here at Phelps Field, they plan to fly their planes in the Missing Man formation. That's coming up in the Torchlight Parade here in Spokane later on this month.
Jeff, thanks so much. Jeff, by the way, any word on a cause of the crash?
Well, we know that weather and visibility were not factors during this crash. Most KC-135 crashes, and about 95% of them, they happen either during takeoff or landing. And this particular plane was already at its cruising altitude. There are at least 2 recorded incidents of air tankers exploding while they're in flight. And in those instances, some of the fuel that the tankers carry to pass on to other planes got loose, somehow found an ignition source inside the plane, and the explosion happened. We don't know if that's the case in this latest incident.